Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do something different. I wanted to try something new. I have been wanting to sit down and consciously break my makeup habits. What I mean by that is I feel like I have a certain routine. I have my go-to techniques that you guys probably hear me talk about over and over with eyeshadows, with certain formulas that I use. I have developed like a pretty solid go-to foolproof routine. And I realized recently that I don't feel like I'm gonna accidentally try something new at this point. I feel like it's gonna require me to sit down and consciously do something different in my routine. So that's the idea behind this whole video. It's not really gonna be as much about the products as it is going through my routine and trying to change up as much as possible as we go. And I'm literally just trying this out on camera, so hopefully it looks good at the end. That's going to be the point of this video, is just to see if trying some new techniques result in something that maybe sticks into my everyday routine. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to start off with the complexion today. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so I've talked about this product from Too Faced. It's the Hangover 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray, but I have never used it as a primer. I always forget and I always end up using it as an actual setting spray. So I thought it would be fun to kind of change things up, and instead of using like an actual lotion type primer, to use a spray as a primer, because I've never really done that. So I'm just gonna spray this all over. I don't know if I should like rub this in or not. Maybe I will a little bit just to make sure it's spread out. And that's gonna be our primer today. I also wanted to apply eye cream because I tend to forget this, especially when I'm filming on camera, but I love this one right here when I do wear eye cream, especially underneath makeup. This is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Eye Base. I'm gonna take a teeny bit of that. That's probably plenty for both eyes. And so I'm just going to apply this using my ring finger underneath the eyes and a little bit around the brow area. I'm gonna try to avoid the eyelid because I'm doing something different today, and I don't want that to be too slippery for the type of formula I'm gonna end up using for eyeshadow. So the skin is prepped. I wanted to reuse this on camera. I tried this a while back and really loved it. This is the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. I always apply my foundation with a brush and then I go in with a sponge. That's just been my go-to. I find that that's what works best. I haven't changed it up, so I thought it would be kind of fun to change things up. And what if I applied this with my fingers? That's what we're gonna do. So I'm just going to apply a bit on my fingertips. I don't really know if I'll need more or less when applying it with my fingers, so I'm just gonna start with a pretty fair amount. I'm gonna warm this up between my fingertips, and let's just go ahead and start applying this all over the skin using my fingers. I don't remember the last time I did this. Actually, I feel like I did this once on camera, and I remember the result being beautiful, so I wanted to do this again because I feel like it's so easy for me to just fall into such a routine with my favorite foundation brushes and my favorite sponges. But like, what if I'm missing out on a really smooth application by applying it with my fingertips? So I'm gonna go ahead and just use my fingers to press it into the skin since I'm not gonna use a sponge to blend this out. I feel like that made things look very natural. Part of me feels like, at least with this formula, that applying it with my hands took a little bit longer, just to make sure that there was more of an even distribution of the product, because I guess that's what a brush does. It kind of evenly distributes everything all over the face, so you don't have one area with more product than the other. So using my fingers is just kind of taking longer, making sure that it's blended where I want it to be and that there's not too much in one area. But I really like the overall look. I'm gonna go into a concealer. This is from Makeup Forever. It's the Matte Velvet Skin Concealer. This is the shade 2.2. I have two shades and I don't remember if this is the lighter one or the deeper one. I'm just gonna go for it and we'll see. I wanted to use a really thick concealer and use a teeny amount and just see what happens. So I'm literally putting tiny dots underneath the eyes, and I am gonna use a brush, or should I use my fingers? Maybe I'll use my fingers because I usually use a brush. And I'm just gonna take this and blend it out underneath the eyes. I do feel like I could have used something a little lighter, but that's okay. I also want to take this to cover up blemishes. And I actually am going to use a sponge for this just because I don't want those spots to dry down too fast, and I feel like I need to work quickly with this formula. So I'm just going to take a sponge and press the concealer down into the skin. I chose to use a little bit more of a matte concealer because I'm going to try not to powder the entire face. I'm not going to powder the entire face today. So in order to keep things more balanced and to keep that concealer hopefully wearing for a long time, I felt like choosing more of a matte finish that will dry down on its own would help. Okay, I actually really like how my complexion looks. We're gonna move on to my complexion, and I'm wanting to dip into my Danessa Myricks Balm Contour. I am really in love with this. This is in the shade Light 1. I'm gonna take that on my BK Beauty 101 brush. And I actually saw this on TikTok, and I feel like it's been a trend for a while, but I wanted to like put it to the test and actually consciously try to do it today. So basically, applying your contour, blush, and highlight a little bit higher on the cheeks is supposed to like lift your face, because I feel like we usually just go into the hollows, which can drag the face down. And I feel like I kind of do that because I don't really consciously put it higher than my cheekbones, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna try it out today. I'm also gonna go ahead and apply this on the forehead. I love how this blends out. I think it's so pretty. But I'm just gonna kind of like sweep the bronzer up instead of down. And I'm not gonna really care if it gets up a little bit higher than normal, because usually I save this area for blush and highlighter, but I'm trying to blend it up higher, so we'll see how this ends up looking. I'm also gonna go ahead and take this along the jawline and down the neck. I'm just gonna take my sponge and make sure the edges aren't too low along the cheekbones right here. Okay, so far things are looking pretty fresh. I am going to continue with the complexion. I wanted to use a cream blush. Now this one is from Rare Beauty. I initially had purchased the shade Bliss, which I love, and then they sent me so many gorgeous shades, so I really wanted to use the shade Happy today, which is a nice bright pink. And same thing, I'm gonna apply this a bit higher than usual, so I'm gonna start with just one dot, and I'm actually gonna see how this blends out with a sponge. I normally blend this out with a brush, but we're trying new things today. So even though that's coming up closer to the eye, I'm really wanting to just play around with what that would look like to have blush higher on the cheeks as well. Same thing on this side. I feel like I put too much on that side, but I'll try to sheer it out. Those blushes are so pigmented, I keep forgetting you don't really need that much at all. Okay, I'm gonna save the highlighter for later. I'm actually gonna go into eyeshadow now, which I'm a little bit scared because I'm just, again, out of my comfort zone a little bit. I really wanted to try using like eyeshadow crayons. I see people use these all the time. I've just never like latched on to the whole cream eyeshadow only thing. I am so familiar with powders and that's just my comfort zone. So I wanted to try something different, and I wanted to use the Laura Mercier Caviar Eye Sticks. So I went on my friend Shelby Wilson's channel. I'll have her channel linked down below. She loves these and wears these, and she's the one that like makes me really want to learn how to use these properly. So I actually watched one of her videos before this. She had a color combination recommendation that I'm going to try out today. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the shade Blossom first, which she said she uses this all over as a base. So I'm going to try that. This is a light pink shade, so I'm going to just go ahead and scribble that all over. She uses a brush to blend it out, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to take this along the lower lash line. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. Shelby had recommended this combination for fair skin tones specifically, which is why I chose it, because I didn't want to do something too intense, like since I'm not that familiar with this formula. So I thought this would be perfect to just kind of get a feel for cream shadows. And I really like how I can blend it up and it blends into my skin tone nicely, so I don't have to worry about it looking patchy there. Okay, that looks really pretty and it blends out so smoothly. The next color she used is also from Laura Mercier, by the way. It's the shade Magnetic Pink, and she applied this all over the lid. So I'm just going to apply this all over my eyelid, and then I'm going to use the brush again to blend out the edges. So this is a really nice subtle shimmer. It's not super sparkly, but I think it looks really pretty on top of that first shade. I'm going to go on the lower lash line with this as well, just to tie the two tones together. And I'm not going to really worry about blending that out with a brush, I don't think. Maybe just a tiny bit along the bottom edges. Okay, and then she deepened things up with another matte stick from Laura Mercier. This is the shade Cobblestone. So I'm gonna take this as well, and I'm gonna take this along the lash line. And then I'm just gonna buff this out on the outer edge here with the same exact brush we've been using the whole time. Okay, I personally added a little bit more on the outer corner just to create some more definition there. And then I'm gonna take that same color just along the outer third of the lower lash line. Wow, this looks really nice. I don't know why I'm always so intimidated by these types of formulas. I shouldn't be. I just feel like they don't come as naturally to me, but again, maybe it's just because I'm so familiar with powders that I really just don't make the effort to practice or branch out into other types of eyeshadow formulas. Just bringing that shade into the crease a little more. These blend together beautifully. I really like that. It's a very soft, subtle look, but that's what I wanted. Again, since it's like a formula that I'm not that familiar with. I'm gonna go in with my sponge. I'm just gonna make sure the edges are clean. Okay, I'm gonna hop around a little bit. I actually wanted to set the under eyes now, and I wanted to use a powder that's specific to the under eye area. This is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. This is something that I've had for a long time. I used to use a little bit more than I do now. I don't remember the last time I used it, honestly. But I feel like I always just use whatever powder I use all over the face under the eyes. I don't use one that's formulated for the under eye area necessarily. So I wanted to go ahead and put this powder underneath the eyes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a small brush and do that before applying mascara, just because this is a little bit more of a finely milled formula. So I wanted to make sure that it was set before applying mascara, just to avoid getting the powder in the mascara if I applied it after. Okay, I'm actually gonna take this and lightly dust it through the eyebrows and a little bit just right here in the center. This is more of like a glowy powder, so it's definitely not the type of powder I use to set my entire face, and I seriously use the tiniest amount. Now I'm going to apply mascara. I'm going to use my L'Oreal Bambi Eye Mascara. I don't really know if there's much I can do differently about my mascara, so I'm just going to create nice fluffy lashes with this. Okay, I'm going back over my brows with the brush I used with the under eye powder just to make it not too slippery, because I'm going to apply brow powder. I always use a pencil, and I feel like I've tried brow powder a few times before. There's been moments in my lifetime where brow powder has really stuck into my routine, but I mean, I usually stick to pencils. So I wanted to reach for this again. This is something I bought last year because it was an Allure Best of Beauty Award winner. This is the Joey Healy Luxe Brow Powder. I have the shade Tobacco, and I'm going to use my Benefit angled brow brush. I'm going to brush up the brows first and then just start filling in the brows with the powder. Okay, so I definitely feel like that took longer than my pencil application just because I'm not super familiar with powders right now for the brows. But I really do like how it looks. It created for me more of a bold brow, but it's still really soft in a way. Like there's not actual pencil marks or anything because I didn't use a pencil. But I feel like it made my brows look really full. I kind of like it. Okay, I'm gonna do highlight last. So we're gonna move on to lips. I'm gonna wipe off any foundation that got on the lips. And I'm wanting to use a lip liner. This is the Plump Line lip liner from Buxom in the shade Dolly Danger. Now, this is breaking a habit because of the color, not necessarily the formula. I find myself either doing a bold lip or a nude lip. I never really reach for these types of in-between, more mid-tone colors. Like this, like a color that's a little bit deeper than my actual lip color, but also not bold enough to where it passes as like a statement lip. I just feel like I never reach for these types of colors, so I wanted to see what it would look like today. I'm going to top that off with the Charlotte Tilbury Happy Kiss lip balm in the shade Happy Love. I also feel like when I do something a little more colorful, I rarely give it a glossy finish, so I wanted to see what that would look like as well. Oh, I almost forgot. I wanted to use this shade of the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick. This is in the shade Beam, which is like an iridescent pink color, and I wanted to put this in the inner corner. I thought it would look really pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that in the inner corner of the eye. And then before applying highlight, I'm gonna go back over the bronzer with the brush. I didn't add any extra product. I'm just kind of going back over everything. And then I'm gonna take the sponge and the side that has the blush on it, and I'm just gonna try to add a little bit more. Okay, next I'm gonna take the Flower Beauty Day Glow Highlighting Glaze, and I'm gonna use this on my fingertips and just apply this right here on the high points of the face. I feel like the blush is already pretty dewy, but I thought it would look really nice to have that cream highlighter on the very, very high points. Do the same thing down the center of the nose. Okay, I feel like that looks really nice. I am just gonna stick to my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Gel. I know that is a habit that is not going to be broken today, but oh well. Before I forget, I totally meant to do this before mascara, but I wanted to put a little bit of eyeliner on the top lid because I never wear eyeliner. So this is actually a really pretty gray shade called Huda from Thrive Cosmetics, and I'm just applying it to the outer half of the eye. Pretend that I applied this before mascara. It would be a lot easier that way, but I just wanted to see what a little bit of eyeliner would do on the outer edge. Okay, so that completes the makeup look. I feel like it was really fun to sit down and try a bunch of new techniques, a bunch of new products, just kind of get out of my comfort zone as far as my typical makeup routine. I would love to know, like, what do you guys think about this look? Is there anything that you feel like I should incorporate into future routines? Is there anything that I did that you prefer what I usually do over what I did today? I would love to know in the comments below. Also, if you want to, I would love to hear about your makeup habits that you tend to stick to, because I feel like that's what ends up happening. All of us are creatures of habit, so once we find a product or something that works really well for us, it's sometimes hard to branch out and try something new. And you know, sometimes if you do try something new, it might solidify that what you are currently doing is the best way to do something for yourself. But I did feel like I learned a few things today. I actually love how the under eyes look using that powder, so I feel like I might incorporate powders that are formulated for the under eyes a little bit more in the future. These cream shadows blended out way easier than I for some reason anticipated in my mind. The only thing with cream shadows sometimes is they tend to crease on my particular eye shape, so I'm gonna wear this for the rest of the night. I'll leave a note in the description box letting you guys know if they crease or not. I still can't figure out how I feel about colors like this. I think I like them. Maybe it's just like because I had a little bit more of a cool tone on the eyes and this is more of a warm tone. Maybe it's not like meshing well, I'm not really sure. But overall, I really do like especially how my cheeks look. I think that my skin looks really fresh. So yeah, I definitely learned a few things today, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber, but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe, and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it from me today. I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.